Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for the final episode of DuckU News. I'm Deborah Bloom.
And I'm Jeremy Cabalona. Freshmen at the University of Oregon expect to take basic classes in math, history, and writing. But now, thanks to a new requirement from the administration, freshmen will face a new mandatory class dealing with drug and alcohol prevention. DuckU reporter Caitlin Conrad has the story.
The University of Oregon administration plans to implement a new mandatory alcohol and drug course. This course will be required for the incoming freshman class, regardless of a clean record.
The question is, would a mandatory alcohol and drug class change the reality of freshman year?
The class will be online and will take an estimated 4 hours of each student's time. Some faculty at the university think it will make a difference.
I think it's going to benefit the entire university community.
But students at the university have a different idea of how helpful a new mandatory alcohol class would be.
People, I think once people get to college, they have an image of what it's all going to be like, and they're probably going to carry through with that no matter what.
But administration say there is a need for substance education at the University of Oregon, which often fails to be a dry campus. But some freshmen feel that alcohol education does not even need to be provided for those who are underage.
I think it would be kind of weird because alcohol is not technically our responsibility since we're not 21.
The administration is aware that many students may be opposed to what will be titled Alcohol EDU.
I think there may be a backlash, particularly from students who might be thinking that we're out looking for them.
But the administration feels that safety is most important. They feel that without education, students lack the ability to make healthy decisions. Reporting for DuckU News, I'm Caitlin Conrad.
U of O American Sign Language Professor Peter Quint was recently terminated. His termination arose from a conflict with the student over Quint's classroom policies. Quint, who has been deaf since age 2, prohibits audible speaking in his classroom. U of O senior Shara McCabe has been a student of Quint's for the past year and is now dealing with the loss of her teacher.
It's hard seeing someone that you look up to as someone who's such a strong person all of a sudden be gone, and no one really knowing what happened to the full extent, and I don't think that he even really understands what happened to the full extent.
Morton has taken over Quint's classes for the remainder of the term.
I feel bad for Peter, and I feel bad for Linda having to come in with this kind of weird transition, and for everybody else having to deal with it.
Quint's removal has resulted in a disturbance in the ASL program, but the department aims to be back on track for the upcoming school year.
The results are in for Lane County's May election. This time around, ballot measures largely dealt with issues of educational funding. Measure 2183, which would allow school district to fund facility improvements through the renewal of an existing property tax, passed by a 25% margin. However, in tough economic times, Measure 2182 failed by nearly a 30% margin. The measure sought to alleviate a $16.8 million budget gap in the Eugene 4J school system by raising taxes on Eugene residents with an income of more than $11,000 a year. The school district will now have to find a new way to make up for its deficit.
A new concern for student safety has recently begun to escalate in the Eugene community. Gang violence is on the rise, and DuckU reporter Stephanie Essen has the information you need to stay as safe as possible.
Eugene has been experiencing a rise in gang violence over the past few months. Much of this violence has occurred near the university, with 5 assaults occurring near house parties in neighborhoods west of campus.
Well, I heard an announcement actually from my sorority, just be careful, because there had been some sort of weird violent acts at parties and people sort of showing up who weren't invited and then causing some fights.
According to Eugene Police Department, over 1,000 gang members are estimated to be in the Eugene-Springfield area, while the gang operating near campus has over 25 members. Gang-related graffiti has also increased as a result. While these assaults are happening near parties, many students are not reporting them due to underage drinking. Nevertheless, police are encouraging students to report any crime that they witness, even if it is anonymously. EPD states that most of these gangs originate from other cities such as San Diego and Seattle. To combat this increasing threat, EPD has put together a gang enforcement team, which has been training local law enforcement, including DPS. For DuckU News, I'm Stephanie Essen.
Oregon lawmakers are considering a House bill that would undoubtedly cause college students statewide to rejoice. House Bill 3651 could lead to a reduction in the price of textbooks. The bill would require the Joint Board of Education to investigate ways to reduce the cost of the text. Strategies include a book rental system and the prioritization of online texts. According to open source textbook provider Flat World Knowledge, students currently spend roughly $1,000 a year on textbooks. It's a pretty steep price to pay, don't you think?
That's really steep, Jeremy, especially given how much college students are paying nowadays for their education and how much debt they're actually going into.
Just hope that all this debt goes into getting a good job. And a recent study was saying, though, that college students are expected to make more than they were right out of college.
That's true, although the news doesn't extend to everyone. A new study shows that women fresh out of college make significantly less than male graduates. According to the National Association of Colleges and Employers, female college graduates are offered 17% less of a starting salary than their male peers. And while unemployment among females is actually lower than men overall, the study showed that male graduates were offered an average starting salary of $44,000, while women were offered close to $8,000 less.
If you're hoping to be admitted to the U of O School of Journalism and Communication, you'd better make sure to keep your grades up. The journalism school recently changed its GPA admittance requirements from 2.7 to 2.9. Also, majors will now be required to get a C or better in order to pass their journalism classes. Journalism is one of the most popular majors at the University of Oregon, and these changes will make admittance to the program just a little bit more regulated.
Oregon's unemployment rate is now at its lowest point since its latest recession. The Oregon Employment Department showed the state's jobless rate fell to 9.6% last month, primarily due to the addition of 1,600 new jobs. Fields such as hospitality, education, health services, and manufacturing saw the greatest job gains in April. The boost in employment ranks Oregon with the 11th highest unemployment rate in the country, dropping down from 8th place last month.
Even more positive news regarding Oregon's economy is manifesting itself through small businesses. The economic upturn has resulted in a boom for Oregon small business owners, such as locally owned Yogurt Extreme.
We're doing extremely well. We tried to offer a very clean, bright, fun, friendly environment and something new and refreshing for the area, and it seems to have taken hold with the students.
This positive trend extends beyond campus. Small business owners statewide are starting to feel the improvements.
It's so great to actually see a light at the end of the tunnel of this recession.
It's been such a long time coming. I'm glad to know that there's finally a few extra dollars in our pockets.
Absolutely. I think we might want to get some froyo to that news.
I'm just craving some vanilla swirl right now.
Oh, great idea.
Well, thanks for joining us for this year of DuckU News. I'm Jeremy Cabalona.
And I'm Deborah Bloom. Have a great summer. We'll be eating our froyo. Peace out.